Yo, what's good? It's Mastermind MMA, and you're tuned into the Mastermind MMA podcast. It's episode 10, like the number of Anderson Silva's title defenses, and we're going to keep doing this thing, unlike the good Sir Anderson Silva. I wasn't expecting it to take a turn to accidentally fire little ricochet shots at my guy, Anderson Silva, but that's the way it goes sometimes. This is going to be probably a shorter episode, and it's probably going to be around 35, 45 minutes. So, I've had episodes that length before. But, yeah, there's not that much going on, like a lot crazy going on. But what I did want to talk about off rip was Big John McCarthy, my guy Big John McCarthy, who I highly respect as a referee and as just a connoisseur, aficionado, a staple in the sport period all around. And just when you talk about being there from the inception, from the jump, from you know, the term day one is thrown out so fucking loosely nowadays, but John McCarthy is literally day one, UFC 1, in there looking like he's on HGH, ripped like big as a motherfucker, just doing the damn cop thing, you know, just being like a full out, there's Big John, and just being the great, not the greatest, but up there in the GOATs and in the discussion of one of the greatest refs of MMA history in the sport period. He's in the MMA Hall of Fame. I don't know if he should be in the UFC Hall of Fame. I don't know if, because he's a commission guy, if they could do it, but just in the sport, man, from the pro level, you know what I mean? Just for all pro fighters, he is. And for the fans, man, he is out of the game, but he's stepping over and he's going to be doing color commentary into Bellator. Now, while I mourn the loss of him and in the position of being a referee, I'm definitely looking forward to hearing some Big John commentary, because I don't know if you guys ever looked into any interviews with him or heard him speak, but he seems like a real ass guy, and I don't know. To me, he seems like a very likable, down to earth guy. So I fuck with him too, especially with the way he breaks things down. He doesn't try to overcomplicate things just to make it sound like it's more special than what it is. What he tries to do, or what I think he does very well, is he makes things seem very he gives the information, and it could be very well digestible, and for the layman people to understand. And, you know, people that don't necessarily understand much of the sport could hear him talk and kind of understand what it's like to be in the referee position. And I think he's done that very well as well. So he's very good in the teaching position. So I hope in some realm he stays in the teaching position as a referee, with the commission, and working still closely with the commission to work on rules and stuff. And hopefully it kind of gets a committee to change up the rule set, because I don't know if you heard the call of me and my guy MMA from the Heartland, but we started getting into changing up in the rules of MMA a little bit and stuff like that. But Big John is one of the guys that would probably be key to having in that room in that discussion. But when it comes to the color commentary, I'm really looking forward to that, because it's always three guys in that cage, period. And when you look at the experience he's had, and he's seen things, he's had vantage points in the greatest moments of fight history that no one else has ever had. And he's been pivotal in moments. He's had decisions to make, and just no one's been in that position. No one's been as seasoned or as experienced as Big John. And the fact that now he's going to be on the outside, being able to kind of give us insight into there, that's going to be dope as fuck. Because I feel like Joe Rogan, Joe Rogan's one of the the greatest commentators there is. And I'm not even saying that like how there's these Rogan dick riders. Like, I don't think Rogan's a good stand-up, but I think like as a commentator, he's like one of the greatest MMA commentators there are. I feel like that's his thing. Like, that's what he was meant to do. And I feel like Big John McCarthy could be like one of those guys. You know what I mean? That's just like, wow, this guy's like, this is his shit. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing him coming over to Bellator. I feel like, I think, I'm not 100% sure, I believe he's kind of taking the Jimmy Smith's role. But I have heard from pretty reliable inside information that Jimmy Smith, and he came on the MMA Hour and pretty much said it without saying it. He alluded to it pretty much as someone would be able to allude to something without, you know, going outside of their non-disclosure agreement. Basically said he's with the UFC basically. So now the UFC got another good guy, because I don't like that motherfucker. What's that WWE? Todd Grisham. I think it's Todd Grisham or some bullshit like that. Fuck that guy. I don't like. I feel like he. I don't know. He just has like this real corny energy, and he just like kind of tries to. He's not that knowledgeable, and he brings in that like really cringy WWE style of commentary. You know what I mean? So I'm glad they're finally bringing in someone credible, like a former pro fighter. But yeah, I feel like Big John McCarthy is gonna revolutionize the Bellator commentary. I feel like once you have something of the magnitude that they have, the Goldberg, the Ranello, the fucking Big John now, I wouldn't be surprised if they get Boss Rootin up in that bitch. You know, just that feel in the commentary and just the aspects they have covered in that team alone can really change the way you digest a fight. Because ever since Goldie came on board, since Goldie and Ranello came on board, it's definitely had a more of a different feel to it. I feel like now we're gonna start seeing more changes in the cage and stuff like that. And you know, now it's the Paramount Network and shit like that. So you know, you have things changing over there, and you have good fights with Rory and Douglas Lima coming up, and that shit's gonna be banging. So you're really having fights that are super credible, and you're looking forward to it. Keep in mind, Lima clipped up Lorenz Larkin, like made him do that stutter step, like boom, like what just happened? Like took him into that weird realm where you don't know where you are, but you're still with the world. And he just fucking lit his shit the fuck up like it's Rockefeller Center. And I feel like Lima is a beast. He's definitely one of those guys that could operate within the UFC at a high level. Obviously, he's facing Rory McDonald, who we've known is championship caliber in the UFC. So Bellator is really coming into its own. Honestly, bro, if Bellator works out some way that they start working with Showtime and like doing Showtime pay-per-views instead of, you know, that's how they run their pay-per-view system. Keep in mind that's Scott Coker and Steven Espinoza. Steven Espinoza with even more of a vendetta. Like, you took away like my Strike Force, and Scott has that same kind of feeling. So they could come back and recreate that feeling. So not only are you gonna have the backings of the pocket of Viacom, you're gonna be able to have it from Showtime too. And keep in mind, Showtime is that Floyd money bread. That's that crazy guap. That's like, you know, where they're willing to drop money on shit like that. You know what I mean? So fuck, bro. The way they could structure their deals and really structure their contracts, and just from the business aspect of things, they could really do things where the revenue split between the fighter and the promoter could be agreeable to both parties and to a caliber where it's equivalent to those of other pro sport leagues like the NBA, the NFL. And if Bellator could reach that landmark before the UFC, that is a very dangerous thing, because not only because you have UFC that put in the work and the history of building the promotion and the sport to what it is today, but the thing is, if the fighters kind of turn on you, and because you are a promoting entity, like when it comes to stuff like the Reebok deal and stuff like that, and when it comes to how the UFC kind of doesn't give a fuck when it comes to negotiations and they let a lot of good guys go. If you really do that, and if it gets to a tighter degree, I mean, when you look at Strikeforce in its prime, you fucking had, like I was saying before, you could argue at the time of when they were coexisting, Strikeforce's heavyweight division was more stacked than the UFC's. So you're going back to kind of a point where, although the UFC's welterweight division is very stacked, you look at Bellator's welterweight division and you're like, oh shit, you kind of got a lot of guys that are good as fuck that aren't like the generic great value version of the fighters. They're actual good fights, you know what I'm saying? So because when you look at the top, you got Paul Daly, who's a motherfucking beast, who's UFC caliber, who left the UFC for not for a lack of skills, but because he fucking punched Josh Koscheck after the bell, and they took action and got him out the UFC. That's really the only reason why he's out there. And when you look at people like fucking, if the UFC doesn't play their cards right, they might have Nate Diaz be the Nick Diaz of Strikeforce. How Nick Diaz went over to Strikeforce and did his motherfucking damn thing. Nate Diaz could very well do that. And guess what? Nate Diaz could bring that could get that bread. So it's like, when you got to be very careful who you're willing to throw your money at and who you're not willing to. Because with the UFC, if you're only just, if you just stay deep-throating Conor and only Conor, and then when you look at your larger pay-per-view, your largest pay-per-views, although most of them include Conor, now when you look at your top 5, 2/5 of them include Nate Diaz. So you do have to consider that factor and look at that player that you also have and start nurturing that seed and nurturing that star. And instead of being like, all right, you know what, fuck you, we don't want to pay you because you're not as easy to work with Conor than Conor, so we're just gonna work with Conor and fuck you, like, you know what I mean? And if Conor wants to fight you again, then we'll bring you back. But besides that, we're not gonna really value you to the point that you see yourself, or a point that we would care to get you back in like we would with Conor. And when you ignore stars and you ignore shit like that, and when you let a Gegard Mousasi and a Rory McDonald and all these people, and you let, like, going back to when Strikeforce and UFC coexisted, when you compare divisions, look at Bellator. Take John Jones at the UFC picture now, which he is. Take him out. Look at Bellator's light heavyweight division and look at the UFC's light heavyweight division. Besides a few key people in the UFC, there's not much going on for it. And when you look at Bellator, there's a little more marquee value names over in the light heavyweight division, or at least even the unknowns. They could perform a little better than the unknowns that you have in your existing division that are maybe lower ranked or whatever. So you're kind of already seeing that shift, especially when you look outside of, when you look at the heavyweight division, you look outside of Kane, you look, you got your Verdum, you got your Stipe, you got your Francis. JDS is really on a downslide as of now, as of the opponents of the tier of opponents he's been facing. And then when you look at what kind of Bellator, although they're not they don't have that extreme of a talent yet in their heavyweight division. They kind of have the namesake marquee with Fedor. Fedor actually, is the double knockdown in the Mitrione fight. We don't know how much Fedor has left in him, but heavyweights have more life in them. But then you have Rampage, who has that name. Then you have Mitrione, who's a decent guy. But when you look at what they're doing with the heavyweight format, and we kind of know Roy Nelson was on the tier end of his prime when he was exiting the UFC, in his last few bouts. So when we look at, when we're looking at what they're trying to do with their division with the tournament format, it's bringing it back to an old school feel, really going back to what because I think if they maybe did it a little more in a closer proximity, I think it'd be doper. But just the fact they kind of have a bracket style thing, it's gonna bring in the hardcore fans that want that shit, and then it might appeal to new people, and especially with the way they're handling business over there, they're really coming up, and being contenders in this shit. So good on them. And I know I kind of went off on a tangent. I was talking about Big John McCarthy, but he just really adds to that shit. And I definitely see it being a huge step in his career. And I kind of see, unless Bellator really values Big John and is willing to bust out those bucks for him, I see come renegotiation, Big John might be in the UFC. But I kind of have a question. If Big John is going into color commentary, why is he going to Bellator and not the UFC off rip? What did the UFC know about it? Was the UFC not interested? I'm a little curious about that. But yeah, that's just like my piece on that. I kind of went off on that. Your boy vaped some dank out this new fucking vape pen I got that gets me fucking schmedded act. It kind of feels like my boy had a volcano, and I used to vape out the volcano, and like how dank that shit is. Like it gets you to like a very like clean head high. So like this pen like does that same shit. So not to that extent, but it rips. So shout out to that pen. Now what else we got in the news? Yeah, I know a lot of you guys are watching my Stevens versus Choi picks. It actually came out that Vitor Belfort this is his last fight. Like he's gonna retire after this. So how does that come in playing a factor? Whoa. My bad. I was just scrolling through. I saw an article that said Paulo Costa offers to fight trans woman Fallon Fox for free, and it's like what? Anyway, yeah, fucking bjpen.com. This is what you get for scrolling while talking on bjpen.com. But yeah, so here's that article. So it says Vitor Belfort will retire at UFC Missouri after fighting my guy Uriah. So Vitor said, "This is my retirement fight. After that, I'm going to put my body to rest. This is it. Breaking news. I think I did more than enough. Just to think back, sometimes flashback, just like Matt Serra said. And I'm like, wow, I'm still doing this. Wow, man, this is crazy. I'm very thankful, but I think my body needs to rest. I have other things. I have a businesses of my own. I developed have a system. I developed a group, a classy training system that we're going to franchise. I just want to leave to help the sports in a way, work with the sports and help do other things. We got to know the time to start, and I think we know the time to end, and it's about chimey. Yeah, it's crazy when you like start reading the quotes because they do that shit verbatim, and like as you just start reading it, like I was reading that shit fast, and it's just like you just start speaking in the fucking accent. I mean, obviously I embellished, but like when you start reading it, just the way it is, it's just like chopped up so Brazilian style. Oh damn, bro. There's more. I'm not reading all that. So there's like I scroll down, there's like a fat paragraph. I'm good on that. Yeah, so this is Vitor's next fight. So how's it gonna play into his mental? Is he gonna be like, you know what, fuck it, going out on my shield, I'm laying it all out there? And how's it gonna play into Uriah? Is he just gonna be like, yo, this is last shit, I'm just gonna put the just crazy highlight knockout, lay this sheep out to rest? Or, you know what I mean? So, or is he going to be like, oh, you know, it's kind of his last thing, I might go a little easier. I'm not saying that could be a thing, but I hope it's not. But I just hope he just kind of keeps in that killer switch and, you know, doesn't let Vitor kind of get his shit off. But shout out Vitor Belfort. Shout out his career. Shout out testosterone replacement therapy. Created a lot of great moments in mixed martial arts. The John Jones arm break. Pretty much, fucking Luke Rockhold getting wheeled kicked, to depression and bitterness. Fucking Bisping being blinded by a wheel kick or some kick by TRT Tour. So, you know, got a lot of classic moments. Fucking the blitz into Wanderlei, clipping his shit up in seconds. You got when fucking Vitor used to go by Victor Gracie way back in the day. He used to fight, that was his name, that's not his real name, but he used to fight as Victor Gracie. Long ass career, been fighting a long ass time. So shout out Vitor Belfort. What else we got going on? I saw this fucking savage post by Volkan. Shout out the Swedish savage Volkan No Time Ozedemir for him. Yo, honestly, bro, this shit like this is that kind of shit. Like, I'm cheesing so hard right now. This is that kind of shit that where you start being this clever, this really makes me to fuck with you. You know what I mean? So Volkan fucking posted a picture of when he knocked out Jimmy Manuwa at 214, and it's like Manuwa laid out on the floor with his legs, and Volkan like with his arms down, like screaming, and then he put it right like above a picture of DC knocked out with his legs like out, spread, like laid out, and John Jones walking away, and they're like in very similar positions, and it's very similarly positioned, and it's just like it just looks fucking so crazy. And then Volkan Ozedemir, it says throwback, hashtag TBT, hashtag UFC 214, hashtag no time. And then fucking DC had to respect it, and he said, savage post Volkan Ozedemir, but since no one knows or follows you, I'll send it out to the public. 3,000 likes for such a good post seems like a waste. Quick point though, you're no John Jones and I'm no Jimmy Manuwa, and I'm a lot better than Kelly Amundsen. Tap machine. So what does he mean by Kelly Amundsen? The only thing I could assume is that Kelly Amundsen is a guy that submitted Volkan Ozedemir. When you look at Volkan's record, I haven't off rip, like I don't even know his record. I thought he was undefeated. Let's see. Let's go to this Kelly Amundsen guy's profile. Kelly Crossface Amundsen. Well, so he beat Volkan Ozedemir in Bellator. He submitted him with a neck crank. So I guess Volkan Ozedemir, that was his only loss. So, and Volkan's got like not that salty of a record, but you know he's got 15 wins and 1 loss. So yeah, his record's not that bad at all. But bro, just just coming at DC like that, that's that kind of shit that might get into someone's head. Like a post like that where DC's just chilling, like he's at home, probably just chilling out, got done training, goes on his phone and just sees that grim reminder, that horrible dark time of that traumatic moment. And it just probably evoked some emotions DC thought he dealt with. And then that's like, honestly, like, and especially that it's like so playful, like you can't even really get at him, but you could kind of tell by the post. I feel like if DC spoke it and it was in an interview instead of being in Twitter form, he'd definitely be much more saltier about it, and you could tell. So Volkan actually doing some good pre-fight build-up a little bit before the fight. I thought that was clever. I like that shit. What else do we got going on? Hey, who is that? Oh, it says Jessica Rose Clark has her home broken into just days prior to her fight with Paige. That sucks. Let's see this article. It says Francis Ngannou has a bold prediction about his fight with Stipe Miocic. And I'm going to have a prediction and pick video coming soon. I just don't know who I'm going to pick yet. I still haven't decided yet. I'm still kind of letting it marinate a little bit and thinking on it. And I feel like I'm just going to, when I sit down to do the video, I'm still not going to have it picked. It's just going to kind of be like in the moment, like what I really think. I feel like, let's see. I think it's going to be a long time before they. I'm going to finish Stipe in under 2 rounds. Oh, so he's saying within 2 rounds he's going to finish Stipe. I mean, all right, that seems like a fair prediction on his behalf. I don't know what I have to say to it about it. Like, it's not anything ridiculous. It's very plausible and possible. It's very well he could get finished within 2 rounds. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to this fight. Another fucking bullshit article we have, which is Tyron Woodley. It says what? T Wood was on Joe Rogan shit? Word, when was this? Today? What? I did not know that. Word, I'm about to watch this shit later then. That's what's fucking up. I did not know T Wood was on Joe Rogan's MMA show. All right, so he's saying that he's predicting a fight with George St. Pierre. Oh, that's his first fight back he's predicting. And he said it's going to happen in 2018. All right, let's see, my guy. Something that's kind of crazy. I was watching like a clip of Tyron Woodley, and I fucks with Tyron a little bit. But I saw this clip. I saw this clip where he was talking about just like welter whiners and all these whiners and all that, and it was kind of like, Tyron, people used to go against you and not like you because everyone said you whine too much. Like, it's like this guy is all he got a title shot off of Johnny Hendricks missing weight, and that is factual information. After he was on a long layoff before that, and then said that he earned it and they promised it to him and he's sitting out until he gets it. Like, you straight up went full protest mode because you didn't get your way, And I feel like that's a high form of fucking whining and bitching, and that's what you're known for. And when as soon as you won the belt, you turned people against you because you were whining and bitching about, I deserve George St. Pierre, I deserve Nick Diaz, who hasn't been fighting, I deserve Conor McGregor, I deserve the money fights. Where's my money fight? While you had where you literally had Wonder Boy, who's a clear-cut number one contender. Obviously, at this point, he resolved all that. But I'm talking about within that point in time, and running through, like, my guy, you just kind of, because you defended your title 4 times in a year, you against top contenders, you really kind of just got people off your shit. So let's not go full hypocrite and just be going after people like that, especially when that was like your thing, my guy. So I fuck with Tyron, but you guys know I got to stay objective about this shit, and objective, just give my honest opinion about shit, you know what I mean? So allegedly the first Russian UFC card has been reportedly booked, and then you have like rumors that Conor's back in training camp, and you have rumors that his coach is looking at Khabib, and like, yeah, you know it's kind of like all that bullshit mill that comes around. And they're saying most likely this event is going to be connected with us. That this is coming from Khabib's team. We'll fight April with Tony, and then we'll receive a date for the fight with Conor. Although I can't exclude the possibility they'll make a fight. They'll make us wait for Ferguson until September, and there won't be an April fight. So, I mean, they're like, I don't know, man. They're definitely probably targeting a Russian card. They're probably not going to do something substantial off the bat like that. They're probably going to do like a warm-up fight night fight card, or fight pass fight card, some shit like that. And then if Conor and his team decides they want Khabib, I guess then another Russian card will do. I don't think whatever this is on there is going to be that. You feel me? And then we kind of got we had some shit about Cyborg wanting to fight true 45ers, and it makes sense because Amanda really is just another 35er coming up, although it's the champion and it is a super fight. I get Cyborg wants to say, there's no division. I want to build a division and have like a line of people for me to fight and people going up against each other, not just have like not cherry pick, but singular 35ers coming up one at a time to face me. So I could get that. It's a little slow. We don't got much going on. I'm looking forward to the fights this weekend. I'm fucking pumped for the fights this weekend. It's a Sunday. I think it's a Sunday night. Definitely looking forward to that shit though. You got Floyd and Conor talking back and forth. Floyd like jabbing at him at Twitter, saying some shit. Oh, you're stupid because you got to pay off the cartel because you punched the guy. And then McGregor's like, oh, I am the cartel. And it's like, I don't know if they're trying to make, try to hype people for the rematch and honey dick people into the rematch. But I feel like you got to give it like a cool year off. Like just let it chill for a year, and then they could probably fool the general public into another fight. And you could probably get like people like Skip Bayless to talk about how close shit was, and people in the media, and kind of generate that hype train running again. Because I'm not sure, unless like I don't know what other large marquee fights in boxing you could have, unless you do like Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder. But I don't know how big that's going to be outside of people that actually watch boxing. You know what I mean? Like how big of a crossover card could that be? But I'm good on that. Let's figure out the 55 division in the UFC before we even start tweeting anybody. Oh yeah, you got fucking Frankie and Max Holloway announced for UFC 222. I believe it's UFC 222. Yeah, I don't know who else is on that card. Let me check that real quick. Because I'm so glad they rebooked that shit. I wonder if anything else is... I feel like something else is on there. I don't remember what, though. Oh, yeah. I don't know. It said Brian Caraway's facing some guy, Cody Stamen, at 222. But did you guys fucking know that Miesha Tate's baby is with Johnny Nunez and not Brian Tate? What the fuck happened? It's Brian Tate. Like, he's got to go back to Caraway now? That shit is why. And yo, my guy, Brian Tate, how are you up in there for all those years and you never shot the club up? You never, like, how'd you let a guy, you are a loser in every aspect of life, Brian Caraway. Especially that you let another guy, especially Johnny Nunez, get up in there and wife that. Damn, bro. A moment of silence for Brian Caraway, bro. That sucks for him. Not much else announced on this fight except for Stefan Struve, Andrei Arlovski. This is a fight card. Oh, yeah. You got Mackenzie Dern on this. Kat Zingano's coming back. You got Sugar Sean O'Malley on here. So, I mean, they should definitely add, well, I mean, they definitely are adding, but they should actually add, like, some classic MMA, like, dope matchups. And that'd be so dope if they could throw TJ Mighty Mouse on here, like, something like that. And then some stars, like maybe one star. Or something. I mean, I feel like if you throw TJ DJ on there, that's pretty much stacked enough for me, so I'm good on that. Trying to think what else. I feel like there's some other shit I want to talk about, but I can't remember. Nah, man. I think that's pretty much it with what's been going on. Excuse me. I'm gonna be doing more videos later on, closer to especially the Bellator event. I'm gonna be breaking down that card, making my picks for that, making my picks for 220. Other things, more podcast episodes coming, more podcast episodes with the homie Jamari. Our podcast from the east to the west. And we're going to have more calls. If anybody wants to do more calls, just shoot me an email or leave a comment. Email me at mastermindmmamedia@gmail.com, or just leave a comment in any of the fucking videos like, yo, I want to do a call. And we'll get that bitch done. Yeah, man. So this is, let's see. I think I kind of hit my like time frame I was predicting, or I would have went over. Might have been like 35, 45 minutes, maybe a little more. But yeah, man, I feel like that I pretty much covered everything going on. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but fuck it, I'll just do another video on it later. Yeah, man, looking forward to shit coming up. Looking forward to the fights. And looking forward to just, kicking and talking MMA as usual, man. This is getting stretched the fuck out. You already know it's Mastermind MMA. Check out new shit coming. Check out the shit I did, and you already know it's Mastermind MMA. We really out this bitch.